right, let's do some planning in my Makselife daily. Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I'm going to be planning out kind of my week view in the Makselife Daily Planner and Monday. If you don't know, this planner is undated, so that's why you really don't see a whole lot on the page. But let's take a look at last week. I came back from Go Wild and I just was like, I just need something really quick, something that didn't require a whole lot of like overthinking, and this was the first thing that I reached for. I hadn't really used it a whole lot since I got it last year when it launched, this version of it, but I don't know, this is what I was gravitating towards. So that's not to say that like my Hobonichi weeks and my Hobonichi cousin will never see the light of day. This is just what I'm currently reaching for. So this week was kind of a hot mess because I made a whole reel about this, but I had used this page for a piece of content that I made, realized that I flipped to the wrong page and I had this extra page, so I just folded it. I was like, no problem, I'll just fold it and use it as a running to-do list. But then I got to the weekend and I was like, oh crap, I don't have a page for Saturday and Sunday. Well, I just split the weekend in half and it worked out perfectly. And honestly, this is probably how I would want to use the weekends in here, at least for now. I don't need entire pages for the weekend. And as you can see, my stuff pretty much follows the same format, like all the time. It's just what works for me. So let's go ahead and hop into this week. I also struggle with between the daily and the weekly Makselife, like which one to put my goals in. And again, I'm really gravitating towards this smaller size because it is truly just so portable. It has a nice durable cover on it. I can just pop this in my bag because it also has an elastic on the back to keep it closed nice and safe. I don't have to worry about it getting damaged. So I'm not really fearful of taking this planner with me. So I may go back and hop into kind of doing a reset on my goals because honestly, I haven't touched them since the beginning of March. Like I laid out a plan, haven't done any sort of weekly actions or anything like that, which I'm sure when you guys travel, it's the same thing. Okay, so for the week view, let's hop into that. I actually have a couple of stickers to help me out. I don't know how stickery I'm going to get in this spread because I really haven't been using a lot of stickers. So the pen I'm going to reach for this week, it's going to be a combination of things. I'm going to use the Sarasa Blend. I talked about this in a couple videos ago, or my weekly plan with me, I should say. I also ordered from Jet Pens a couple of different sizes and barrel colors of this pen because I'm not gonna lie, while the 0.7, like everyone's raving about it, it's not 100% my favorite. I think it writes a little bit too like goopy, like more than a 0.7, but it could also be that I just haven't used it enough. So I'm gonna stick it out. But like I said, I've also gotten some 0.5s on the way and some different barrel colors. When we were at Go Wild, they gave us this pen as part of the swag, and if you sat at a zebra table, you also got some white ones, but they are blue ink, and as you guys know, like blue ink is not my jam, so that's why I was like, I need to get something else. And then I think for my marker color, at least for the first couple days, I'm going to use N52 from Tombow. It's a perfect blue gray color. I'm also going to use my gray Zig Clean color dot marker, and then one of my favorites for writing the times in the daily part of the Makselife is the gray dual tip marker from Erin Condren. I just like the tone of the gray in this marker, and you'll see what I mean as I start to write things out. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. So like I said, this is the week of March 13th through the 19th. So we're just going to write that in up here. Nothing too complicated. I'm just honestly looking at my weekly, making sure that I actually write down the correct dates. So this week's focus, even though our like bulk trash situation isn't until April, from now until April, my weekly focus is probably going to be spring cleaning and just like purging all the things. Okay, and then how I typically do my date covers in this layout here is I use the dot marker to sort of create almost like what you would get when you use a dot sticker, if you will, and then I'll write the date or the number for the day in the circle there. Now, for my weekly view, I kind of like to keep things like very surface level. This layout is very similar, at least in my brain, to the Hobonichi weeks. So I kind of split it up in that way. Sort of, I don't put really to-dos here. The way that I like to do it is kind of any scheduled things, appointments, things like that over here, work schedules, and then meal planning over here. And I recently got this ruler from Jet Pens. I believe it is, yep, it's the Midori ruler. It's a multi-ruler. So it's a nice short ruler like this, but then you can open it up and it's a nice like foot-long ruler. I believe it's a foot-long ruler, and it's perfect because it's small enough for a pen pouch, and sometimes you need something slightly longer than say like these shorter rulers. When you go to like draw a line here, it doesn't go all the way to the end of the page. So I think that this is a brilliant option. I recommend it, got it from Jet Pens, and as you know, I rave about them because their shipping is just phenomenal. So I'm just going to try to make it straight here. I can never get this line nice and straight. And I think I'm going to use the gray marker for this one, not the thick side, the thinner side. Let's see if I can try to get it straight. I do wish, not going to lie, I do wish that there were maybe like little notches at the top here if you wanted to split it into say like down the middle, and then maybe 2 more notches if you wanted to split it into thirds. That may be something I need to tell the Makselife team about. They may also be like, are you insane? That's too many options. But I like options. All right, I hope that that is straight. If not, it's going to be okay. That'll work. Okay, so that's going to be for the meal plan. So my schedule this week, I'm going to put in my work schedule and then any meetings that I want to like pop out on the schedule for me so that I'm like aware of what's going on. Okay, I've got all of my work things in there, at least from what I looked at my calendar last. I do have a day off in the middle of the week because I have some things I need to take care of at home, and then back to work Thursday and Friday. Some social media things. So on Friday, I've got Friday Night Live. That is coming back. Super excited about that. And then on Sunday, I have 2 one-on-one calls, and that's at 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Okay, now let's work on the meal plan over on the right. I know this like all looks like super boring, but I really have been wanting to keep things as functional as possible in here until I decide if I want to stay in this long term and maybe add stickers at some point. I'm actually perfectly fine with it being fairly sticker free. Okay, and then I typically only plan through Friday just because the weekends are kind of just, we just kind of play it by ear depending on everyone's schedule. Okay, let's move over to Monday. So I love using these date covers from Randi Plans. I've used them a lot in my weeks and in my cousin, even in the Sterling Ink planner, and they are perfect over there. But what I have found is that they are also perfect for the Makselife as well. Now you can put this over a sticker if you want, but what's really great about this is that she sells these in bundles. So if you do get an undated planner, you could essentially go through and date your entire planner and be set, and then you would have a dated version of it. So 10 out of 10 recommend these. Like, I love them so freaking much. She also has, along with the dates for every single day of the month, the week numbers, and then some this week stickers as well. It would be cool to have like a week of, like where I'm writing in March 13 through 19, but it's really not that big of a deal to not have that. What I typically do when I get to this page is I highlight every area where there will be a header of some sort. So this will be the today, the top 3, my schedule, and then an area for all things content. And then over here is where I'm going to put my habits. So essentially I just build out how the page is actually going to look for me. I do love how the daily in the Makselife actually gives you a lot of flexibility without really even realizing it, to be quite honest. Okay, so let's go ahead and label these. So this is going to be my to-do list over here. my top 3. And sometimes I write these in cursive. Sometimes I'm just like, let's just keep things simple. This one's going to be today. And this will be all of the content things. And then habits down at the bottom. I remember when I first started using this planner, when it came out last year, I would get really overwhelmed by this bottom section being completely open. And now I'm just like, I like that it's open because I can keep changing it up as I want to. All right, so let's start with the schedule maybe. Let's put in the times. And again, you'll see what I mean about this gray just showing up really nicely. It isn't like super overpowering. I do every other hour. I just feel like it looks less cluttered on the paper, in my opinion. And I just really like the gray. I don't really care for it to be written in black. So this just works. This just works for me. And this tip allows me to write a little bit smaller as well. So I'm going to start off with my AM routine and then carve out like a little work schedule. And I'm going to grab that ruler and just kind of make a box for it as straight as I possibly can. Even with a ruler, I struggle. You guys will have to let me know if you're the same way, because I just feel like the ruler doesn't always help me out. I do feel like my work schedule eats up a huge part of this block, but again, visually, I just want to see where my time is allotted for the day, and obviously most of that is at work, like for most of us. So that's just the reality of it. And then because I like to be a little bit extra fancy, I'm just going to add a drop shadow that matches the color that I am using for the day. And then I'll add in anything, if any meetings pop up, I will add those into this schedule. And then it may seem redundant, but I do write dinner over here as well. And then I make a spot for my PM routine, which actually starts more like at 9 o'clock, not 8 o'clock, but I'm working with this space that I have. I have seen people just go ahead and ignore the break in the page here, and then they will just take the time all the way down. Again, I feel like this layout leaves a lot of room for flexibility. Okay, so my top 3 for the day, that always like varies. Like I tend to not really write that down till the morning of, but I think what I'm going to put for my top 3 is going to be my medication, vitamins, and hydrate, which I will do a water tracker down at the bottom because I personally really love water trackers, like a lot. All right, on the to-do list for the day, super exciting things. I need to put away all the laundry. I need to clean up my office, or at least continue to work on that. Coming back from Go Wild, it looks like a tornado has gone off in my office, but there's just stuff everywhere. I need to really organize, purge all the things. Need to Roomba downstairs. It's the change of seasons, and my dogs are shedding like so much. It's kind of alarming, but I think that they need to be like ferminated, bathed, probably ferminated again, just to get through all of it. Let's see. I'm also going to make a space for to go. If I have time, I will try to get to these things, but I make no promises. I really need to stop at the post office. I need to return my Stitch Fix stuff that I'm not keeping. I also need to go to Walgreens because I have a refill for my thyroid medication, and for some reason on the app, I don't know if it's the app that keeps glitching, I don't know. I'll be on this medication for forever and ever. There's like a million refills on it, and every time I go to do my refill, it says that there's a technical issue, and I end up having to call them. It's a whole like thing. It always gets sorted out, but I'm like, this is twice now that I've tried to put in my refill, so I'm gonna have to go there tomorrow to go pick it up. Okay, now for content things. I want to make sure that I share my weekly plan with me. I want to make sure I address all comments and messages. I felt a little bit behind last week, but I think I'm all caught up. By the time you guys see this video, I hope I'm all caught up. go through my emails. I need to respond to a few things. I also need to work on my April content plan because I will have a few projects that I am working on, and I want to make sure I have a plan to get these things done in March so that they're ready to go in April. One thing I never like to do is get behind on making content. So it just snowballs and it's not a good time. So I need to update my Notion. And then I think that's it for content things. All right, let's hop into these habits. So first thing is H2O. So I'm gonna put a little thing for my water, and then I'm gonna make 8 dots with my Zig marker so that I can check off my water as I'm drinking it throughout the day. And then a couple of other habits is going to be my audiobook. Didn't do so good over the last couple of weeks because, again, travel. I want to catch up on my journaling. And while this isn't a habit, I do want to work on memory keeping because I did my first 2 days at Go Wild. So I went 2 days early. So technically I just have a total of 3 days to actually memory keep, but I also have the 2 days prior, but I've still got a couple of days that I need to work on. So I definitely want to continue to work on that. Maybe like a day, we'll see. And then at the bottom, I always kind of change up what I'm doing here, but I'm going to try to reach the goal of 8K steps. I would like to close my ring, and I would like to get some form of working out in, even if it's a yoga class and meditating. All right, so that is how my week is set up for this upcoming week, plus my Monday. I really like the way that this has turned out. I think I might be falling back in love with this planner. I really do love it. And again, it's helping because I can have a week, a month, my goals, my daily, all together. My only maybe issue is the notes pages, but that's totally okay. I've always got some form of a Makselife journal or notebook near me. We also got this really pretty one at Go Wild. I know I'm gonna have a really hard time jumping into this just because starting a new notebook always makes me like, ah. But anyway, I will always have something that I can jot something down. I also tend to keep like this sticky note pad near me from Target. I've tried to find more. I've gone through like 3 already, but I really love this one because one, it fits in here and it's neutral and it goes with everything. So I can always jot down notes on something like this. So anyway, that is it for this week's Plan With Me. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you are already subscribed, make sure you click that notification bell so that you know when my videos are posted here on YouTube. As always, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.